Realise. Hi and welcome to this webinar presented by Epilepsy WA with thanks to UCB. Today we've got the wonderful opportunity to speak to David Coyle, who is going to share with us about the AbiFit device, which is a new seizure alert device that's recently come onto the market. So we're going to be having a bit of a chat about how it works and what it's got to offer. So welcome, David. It's lovely to speak to you.
Thanks very much, Lauren, and I appreciate the time and the opportunity to showcase this new sensor, and excited to see how it will bring some benefits to the mums and dads in WA that you look after.
Fabulous, absolutely. So how about we start by you telling us a little bit about the product itself?
So AbiBird, the company that owns the technology, been around since 1960s in Australia around motion detection. And they looked at their technology around healthcare and where motion detection could bring benefits to discrete segments of the market. And we looked at epilepsy, and you've showed the sensor. So what we've developed is a sensor which uses infrared to detect motion at night with children who either have or are at risk of chronic nighttime seizures. The opportunity to develop it is, given that it is Australian, it's wholly owned, so the hardware, software, and all of the algorithms that are used for the motion are all in-house. So it's a very adaptable system and can branch into several areas of healthcare. And we've really looked at the technology available in epilepsy, and we certainly feel there's an exciting market there for a product like AbiFit.
And we're really excited to have that as well. So can I just clarify? So when we're talking about clonic seizures, we're meaning seizures that have a convulsive component. Is that right?
That's correct. So the product has one purpose and one purpose only, and it's important to be very clear about that. From whence your son or your daughter or somebody living on their own goes to sleep, the sensor will look over them all the way through the night until they get up in the morning. And the sensor is designed to pick up what we would call rapid or abnormal sleep motions, 35 discrete motions in a 20-second period, which mimics the possible commencement of a clonic seizure. And then the AbiFit will alert an app on family members, carers, supportive network phone to say that a seizure, potential seizure, has commenced and to act according to their response protocol.
Okay, great. So can you tell us a little bit about how an alert is sent and what happens in the room when a seizure is detected?
Let me share a picture with everybody so that they can see what I'm talking about. So if everyone can imagine, this is their son, daughter's, or individual's bedroom. They're asleep, and you can see that the sensor is fixed to the wall over the bed, and brackets are provided with the sensor to allow mum, dad, or carer support person to do that. The yellow beams, you can see they're the infrared beams, and they are constantly on the person while they sleep at night, or indeed during the day if that's part of their normal routine. Normal twisting and turning generally has anything between 6-15 movements in a twisting, turning, restless sleep perspective. That will not set off the alert. You need 35 continual discrete motions within 20 seconds to set off the alert. And the alert is both audible, a la how a smoke alarm would work in your home, and so mum and dad's smartphones, which would be by their bed, will also alert.
So obviously this is a significant sound. It's not going to be easily missed. If someone's asleep, they're going to certainly be roused by the alarm.
Yes, and that's quite deliberate for obvious reasons. Really, the benefit of the technology is to allow mum and dad to actually psychologically go into their own deep, restful sleep, because the normal day's activities, obviously, quite a strain. Everyone needs their rest. So the alarm can be customized to both loudness and duration of alarm, as mum and dad become familiar with how it works in their own home. Different size homes, away from the bedrooms, etc. But also you do have the complete backup of the app alert, email alert, and push notification alert on their phones, all happening simultaneously within that 35-second time frame. And if they don't feel it's loud enough, then they can swap it out for one that's louder, completely free of charge. So we're very keen to respond to the feedback from the market. Hence, I know we'll discuss the 90-day free starter pack, if you will, as to how mums and dads can become familiar with using the technology, the individual benefits and the customization to their own individual circumstances with their sons, daughters, loved ones, and the supportive network that they may have. So it can be customized to be as loud for as long as someone feels is required for them to feel safe and secure. When they go to sleep themselves, they will be woken up.
And I think that's such an advantage of this type of technology, is that it gives that peace of mind to the parents or carers. And as you said, beautifully, it enables them to get the rest they need, at knowing full well that they'll be alerted if there is an issue, which is just great.
Absolutely. And when they get it for the first week, they can set it off manually as they become familiar with what it looks like, touching it, and they can mimic the potential motion of a seizure start and have the sensor go off on the kitchen table, so that they get a really firm idea of, this is what's going to wake us up. The phone will go off. Is this going to wake us up? What is that going to be like for us in our individual circumstance? And one of the important points is, once the alert goes off, it cannot be turned off for that individual episode. So if it's a 40 decibel sound for 30 seconds, which is factory set, it is 40 decibels for 30 seconds. It will not go off. It ceases. Hopefully mum and dad are then applying, whether it be first aid or recovery position, as they would do in a normal situation. The sensor then goes back to neutral monitoring to pick up any subsequent seizures that may happen once everybody goes back to sleep.
So it's I guess really easy then. It's almost a set and forget, isn't it? So once it's sent out, it's alert, parents do what they need to do, or carers do what they need to do, and then it virtually resets itself. So there's no intervention required from anybody else. It'll just reset and be ready to go should there be a second seizure, either that night or a week later or a month later.
Absolutely. The app will take about 60 seconds to set up on each phone. Very straightforward, very easy. Each sensor has its own serial number, which is inside the lid. So the communication from sensor to mum and dad's phone is unique. And even if there's 1 million plus sensors out there in the world, the connection between their sensor and their phones for their child is absolutely unique, and allows data collating, neurological visits, let's say, or some demographic information over time as to potentially the number of seizures that are happening at night, how they then cross-reference with sleep patterns, and neurologists would be quite interested in kind of data. And then to set this up in the bedroom, it's fixing the bracket and putting the sensor up on the bracket, and it is always on. So again, I'll repeat the important point. you do not have to turn this on or off. Out of the box, on the wall, it is on. So during the day, you have two choices: take it off the bracket and leave it face down during the day. There's no need for it. Or indeed, cover it with something during the day while it's still on the bracket choice. And you can see it's portable. So you're going away on holidays for a week, or you're going, camping or whatever. Once you can put that up in place, it's portable. You take it with you. That's all you need. Sensor plus travel.
That's really fantastic. I mean, there's some really great benefits there. So we've got the fact that it detects the convulsive seizures, that it's portable, that obviously the setup, it's almost set and forget. What kind of maintenance does it require in terms of battery life and things like that?
For your viewers, it's important to feel comfortable that you don't need NBN for this to work at home. You don't need Wi-Fi. You don't need 3, 4, 5G. Obviously, that will be on your phone. So this works similar to how your smartphone remote control works on low band communication mechanism, which is available in 98% of Australia naturally. And essentially, it means that a battery powered device communicates with another battery powered device. So phone, sensor, with each other, not going through any 3G, 4G, 5G. And you can see that the power is just 4 AA batteries, Woolies Coles, and they last for between 12 to 14 months.
Wow.
Now, that's all that needs to be changed, and so that everybody can feel quite relaxed and continually at peace of mind. The app on your phone tells you when there's 20% battery life left. It will tell you there's 10% battery life left, and you have ample time to replace the batteries after 12 months. And that's simply taking 4 out, putting 4 in, and it's always on. And that is the only maintenance that is required.
That's fantastic that you get the prompts for the battery life. I think that really does, I guess, takes the worry out of it, doesn't it? You'll be notified if there is an issue. So this is going to be really useful, obviously, for people in regional areas, perhaps, or for those who are older and aren't necessarily up with obviously the carer needs a phone, but apart from that, the system itself doesn't require any great technology. And I guess also it's that also power. I live in the hills here in Perth, and power can be somewhat unreliable, shall we say, more often than you'd expect. So in a power cut, again, no interruption of service. As long as the phone's got charge, you're going to still be monitoring the person.
Absolutely. And if for whatever reason that connection may be lost, like if Telstra or Vodafone from the communication towers, if there's a complete blackout, obviously nothing is working, but your app will alert you immediately that there's a connection issue for whatever reason. So from the perspective of mum and dad and that set and forget, the phone will prompt you at all times as to the status. So you don't have to proactively go in and check. You will get all full notifications. And again, that's all customizable on your own app, and the app is available free of charge via the App Store or the Android. So whether you've got a Samsung or an iPhone 29 WSYZ, it's no problem whatsoever.
That's great. And I can see obviously there's no screen on the sensor. Is in terms of those, perhaps say some young adults who are concerned about privacy and the like, how does this device maintain their privacy?
So again, looking at what the device is, it's a simple plastic casing with the battery insert at the rear, and you can see a window aperture here. That's where the infrared field, which is 3-dimensional, comes from. There is no audio and there is no video capabilities within the sensor. So all it means is that the sensor is designed to pick up motion and log those motions graphically on a continual basis. And that data stored on a server can be accessed at any time by mum and dad's request over any periods of time from the very second that the sensor is set up, and that data can be collated into a meaningful graph or table that will instantly give them some additional information in terms of either visiting their GP or visiting a secondary care specialist. So from a privacy perspective, no audio, no camera,
yep.
And the server that holds the motion data is nameless because you've now got your serial number, and you're not asked to put in any credit card details into the phone, and it is a secure server with GDPR compliance. So it's up there with the kind of technology that the banks use for your normal credit card, debit card transactions. Perfectly safe and secure.
That's fantastic. So I'm just thinking in terms of, obviously you've talked a bit about there's data that's available if anybody wants to find it,
Yes.
that can be sent to things. Is there a limit to how long the data is kept for, or does it?
No. Limitless. You can imagine that the memory for the data that's required is very little. It's just small packets of motion data. So it's there forever and a day.
That's great. And can you tell us a bit more about the app? How many, I mean, is it just one app for one phone, or how does that work?
So there will be a primary administrator. So whether that's mum or dad, completely open to them themselves. And the administrator will download the app. It will appear on their front screen like a regular app tile. They will set up the sensor serial number to their app, and then using email verification will then invite their husband, wife, partner, and or carers, extended family members, next door neighbors, depending on the response community that's individual to each and every person living with epilepsy. And that is very, very, very simple to do. You do not need to be in any ways technically proficient, as I'm not, to have this set up for you and your family, and also have a limitless network of support app holders who can respond as need be. So the administrator, and that will be mum or dad, the only person who can make changes to how the app works. Everybody else is a visual and a responder, so sees the same alerts, the same information, but does not have the administration access to make any changes. It's view and respond. And as I say, that's limitless for the number of people and limitless for the number of sensors. So if hypothetically, if someone had a shack holiday home elsewhere, they could have a second sensor permanently set in that home and just easily move between both houses. Both sensors would be individual on the same app.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so you've got flexibility in your individual circumstances regarding location. Obviously, going away if you're going to a hotel, or you can bring the home one with you. But if you do a second location, house, etc., you can have a second one set up there permanently, and they are individual on the app. So one would be home, and one would be called, summer house, or whatever the case may be, completely separate, and all of the data completely separately saved.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. So do you mind telling us perhaps how much this is going to cost? Explain to us how this is going to work.
So one of the benefits of the technology coming from such a large Australian organisation is this can be brought to the market at a cost that is infinitely affordable to everybody. So what you see, as we say, the sensor is free. So there is no capital charge for the sensor at all.
Wow.
the communication through the IoT network is free. And it's a subscription-based model. So those of you looking who are familiar with Netflix, Stan, iTunes, and their monthly contracts with the get out of jail clause, you can get out in a month. That's the system that we run. So this is $15 a month for however long it's of value to you. So $180 per year with no entry fees, no exit fees, no management fees, no other fees whatsoever, and you are completely in charge, and you can give a month's notice at any time and stop the subscription, and then we would send a pre-paid reply satchel to your home address. You pop the sensor and send it back to us. There's no charge even for that. So to go from having nothing and being, having quite high levels of anxiety and mum and dad sleeping and all that means with, even in COVID times, trying to, keep down a job, manage a family, becoming hugely complicated. You've now got something that is completely effective and very cost effective. Bring a high level of peace of mind to each household. And for the price of less than 4 cups of coffee a month, I think well worth investing in. And we've gone one step farther. So any one of your clients, or indeed friends, colleagues, anybody in WA who would like to try this and see how it actually fits into their lifestyle and their individual circumstances, can try it for 90 days completely free with no obligation to subscribe and pay going forward. And that offer is fully supported as if you were paying. So full online help, but also we do have real people in a real office in a customer service context, some of whom are based in Perth, where you can actually speak to somebody whenever you need help, advice, or like to check something out.
Sorry, the smile I think says how impressed I am to hear that. That's brilliant. And I guess that's one of the things that really does certainly appeal from my perspective, is the idea that that 90-day chance to have a go, as you said, to see how it fits in. Because obviously epilepsy and seizures themselves are incredibly individual. So
yes.
that opportunity to actually see, is this going to be effective for us? Is this going to
yes.
work for us? Is really important. And I think that's something that I'm incredibly impressed by. To have that individualized sort of almost service is wonderful. And I think, I'm assuming from what you said earlier, that when you're sent one, it comes with the factory settings, but then if you wish to make changes to that, it's just a matter of they will send back the sensor and you will program one for them to their specific needs. Is that correct?
That's correct right now. And as the app-based side of it develops, we hope to have the ability for mum and dad to make all of those changes themselves on their own app. So you have a sensor that can be customized for alarms, lengths, etc., without having to swap out. But at the moment, it is a factory setting, but there's no, it's a couple of day turnaround. We wouldn't necessarily expect the first one back before you get sent the second one. We want this to pervade as many homes as is possible that are living with epilepsy, and we'll make it as seamless and as easy for people to try this and work with them rather than the other way around. So it's get on board, have a try, certainly give us the open and honest feedback as to the experiences. That then informs how we develop the product and the supportive network going forward. So without the market coming back giving us valuable feedback, makes it very difficult to bring new technologies to market segments that have been overlooked for quite a long time, because I guess other players don't see the value in the numbers and go for bigger perspectives and bigger marketplace.
Well, I mean, certainly from our perspective at Epilepsy WA, seizure alert technology is something we're particularly passionate about. So we're incredibly excited to have something, you know, a new product coming out that gives that opportunity for people to individualize it for themselves, but also that offers privacy and all sorts of the features that you described. So we're incredibly grateful for your time, and we're really pleased that we have this opportunity to share this with you know, all of our all of those people in the community to whom this might be of use. Is there anything you'd like to finish up with before we close? Any other information you can
just to give people, so people think, well, how do I get information? How do I get it? Where do I go? So several opportunities there. I would encourage everybody to contact their WA epilepsy office and speak to the nurse team and the lovely people in there to get the next level of information. Mm-hmm. You should go on to www.abibird.com.au, AbiFit, and you have a lot of information there, and also the opportunity of signing in for the trial. And if you sign up for the trial, then you get a full customer pack, full frequently asked questions, full app setup, and obviously the support of the help desk within that 90 days. And as I said, I would like to encourage everybody to try it. It's free. And if you have nothing right now, I don't believe there's anything to lose with giving this a try, and you'll be impressed.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future as the app develops and things like that. So thank you for your time.
Lovely. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.